we have our answer. We would like to chime in and take
Yeah,
what happened in Paraguay in 1985 for 500.
perfect. Okay, let's hear it. Sorry, I wanted to check the chat. What you got?
Well, do you want us to give our answer or give someone else a
Yeah,
chance to?
yeah, let me hear it.
So we actually were able to locate on the photograph on the right the dam that
Mm-hmm.
was installed.
Yeah,
And so we're going to go with there was a dam built in 1985.
okay. And then how could that be useful information for either a farmer or for the military?
Go ahead.
Electricity.
Potentially electricity is
Mm-hmm.
being created at the dam.
Yeah.
Certainly it's impounding water that could be used for irrigation. And I'm
Yeah.
just repeating what the kids are saying here under their breath. So
Okay. Fair enough.
they're being too shy.
Okay. That's okay. Anybody else?
Karina, I think we'll hand it over to Hardin because they have their hand
Okay.
raised, and then
Perfect.
Big Honey has a guess in the chat also. So it sounds like everyone
Okay.
has a guess.
Perfect.
Go ahead,
Let's hear
Hardin.
'em.
Tell them what you think.
Tell them.
Go.
Um.
Stand up.
Okay. Maybe the river eroded the land, and then the land came down.
Okay. That's a good guess.
Okay, then in the chat we have flood with a question mark, and then man-made or beaver dam question mark, and
Okay.
then maybe that will impact fishing. It might limit irrigation downstream.
Mhm.
Farm irrigation plans gone wrong.
Okay. That's funny. So, those are all great guesses, guys. The correct answer is that a dam was built in 1985 in Paraguay. It displaced about 100,000 people from a town that was there. Oh, sorry, that was my timer for you guys for 5 minutes. So it displaced a ton of people out of their homes, and then also it for like how it could be useful information for the military side of things, right? River crossings are no longer capable. Terrain features are completely different now. Where people are populated is gone, right? So there's all these things that you need to look at, not just like, oh, a dam was built, right? There's all of these like repercussions that happen over time for everybody, not just like the military and not just for farmers. So that was really good job, guys. Good job. That was fun. Okay. So moving into like career pathways, my PowerPoint got a little janky, but using geospatial skills is really important, and it can take you a lot of places. So it can take you down the agricultural branch, which bear with me, got a little funky. So you've got precision ag analyst work, GIS technicians. You've got lots of careers within land management. And then in the military defense sector, you've got GeoInt analysts, which I worked with every day. So I wasn't a GeoInt analyst, but my office was right next to the dark room. And we call it the dark room because GeoInters sit in the dark, and because they have their computer screens and tons of satellite imagery and all sorts of different mapping and ArcGIS stuff open. They're the ones who can direct a satellite to take a picture of coordinates. So I would have what I needed to know, where I needed to know it. I'd get the coordinates for them. I'd take it into the dark room. I'd give it to an analyst. The analyst would then get back to me in like 3 days probably, and get me the pictures that I had requested. And so for GeoInt, it's not just mapping too. They'll do, it's called targeting. And so it is people of interest in foreign adversarial countries. They help us get pictures of them, maps of their houses, stuff like that for targeting missions. So there's lots of things that GeoInt analysts can do, and it's really cool. You can work for any federal agency and then in the private sector. And when I'm talking about private sector, within military defense, I'm talking about government contracting. In my office, I worked with civilians every day who were incredibly intelligent, way smarter than me. And they did everything that I did and more. And so they all got trained on it. And they were really like the leaders of our office. And so there are tons of ways that you can take GeoInt skills and use them in the real world. And they're all pretty lucrative options. So
Can
we're
you
going to play another
define
game.
Oh,
What?
before we do the game, can you define GeoInt?
Yeah, it's geospatial intelligence. So it's like human intelligence. And then so there's in the military, it's called single source analytics. And so GeoInt, so geospatial intelligence, human intelligence, the linguists are all, they're like radio translators. Those are all considered single source intelligence avenues, because they only have a focus in one area. So they become complete experts in doing and reading and executing these intelligence queries. And so they, like for GeoInters, they don't learn anything but how to use Palantir, ArcGIS, and any other form of mapping skill. And their school is I think it's like a year and a half long for training. And then they get sent out into the field or into a dark room. And so humenters, all they learn how to do is interrogation skills. And then they go out and they typically have multiple languages that they know, so that they can work with anybody in any country. And they just learn how to talk to people and how to work with people, and how to move. They can do like defensive driving training, which is so cool. They go to Seattle and they do a school where they have to move a person of interest from one place to another while they're being followed, and they have to lose the follow and like get to the safe house as training, and it's super interesting. And so they write reports on every person that they talk to, anybody who reaches out to them, and then they send them to an all source analyst, which is kind of like that catch-all, which is what I did. And so you take everybody's single source reports and you put it into a PowerPoint, typically is what I did, or into a read book, which is like a physical giant book. You have to print all these reports out and you write a bunch of like analysis explanations, and you take it to the commanding general for that area. So you take it to like the head honcho, and he gets that book every day, and it's a collection of all of the reports that other people haven't taken, but you sift through it as an intelligence analyst and you figure out what is the most important and relevant so that the military can make accurate decisions, especially when you're in like a wartime area. So that's kind of like a breakdown of like what all of those are, if that answers your question, Dr. Chips. Yeah,
totally. Thanks.
Cool. Yeah. So we're going to play another game. This one's kind of longer. This is where the whiteboards come in, guys. I'm going to show you a job title from within the geospatial world. And then on your whiteboards, you're going to decide if it's a military job, an agricultural job, or if it can be, your skills can be applied to both. And then when you're all ready, if you guys want to like give me a thumbs up, I will reveal the answer and we can talk about it a little bit to see if you guys got it correct and why it's one or the other, okay? So let me know when you're all ready with your whiteboards. Oh, there's a thumbs up. Sweet. Cool. Okay, I'm going to flip to the next slide if we're all good. Okay, so a GIS technician, we're going to start off easy. What do we think it's, military, agriculture, or both? And then on your whiteboards. And let me know when you guys are ready for me to share the answer. What do we got over there? We got one thumbs up. All thumbs up? Okay, I think so. I'm gonna move on. Perfect. Okay, so it's both. I don't know if you guys all got that. So for GIS technicians, they use maps and they track land use in farming, land resource management, and defensive work. So a GIS technician can be a GeoInt analyst, right? And the military also uses contracted GIS technicians in order to build the maps for our databases that we need, right? So it's not just farming and land resource management, but it is both. Does that make sense to everybody? I hope so. Okay, moving on. Okay, drone imagery analyst. So this is a job where they take, people fly the drones, they take the pictures, and then those pictures get sent to somebody to like look at what the drone pictures actually mean. So is that military, agriculture, or both? What do we think? And give me a thumbs up when we're ready. Looks like we're almost ready. I'm gonna flip it. Agriculture. So it's mostly because it flies over fields to check crop health up close and personal, right? So, did you all get that right? How did we do? How are we doing? Doing okay so far?
Can we talk a little bit about why that's not both?
Yeah. So drone technicians in the military, are their own. They don't do any of the imagery analysis. So we don't technically, like that would be an intelligence analyst. So people who fly the drones don't typically do their own image analysis. So they just fly the drones. Like they can fly like the Reapers or anything like that. They just fly them and then they take the images based on where a GeoInt or an intelligence analyst tells them to. So every like in units that have drones, they're also going to have an intelligence analyst attached to their unit who's helping direct and figure out everything. And intelligence analysts can even do weather reports based off drone footage and stuff. So technically, a drone image analyst isn't going to be in the military because that's not its job title. So it's kind of tricky. Does that make sense?
You did trick us.
I
were
did.
tricked.
Okay. Okay, so a GeoInt analyst. This one should not be a trick. This one should be pretty easy. Okay, I'm seeing some whiteboards flipped. Sweet. Cool. Okay. We ready to see the answer? Military. Woo! We've talked about this whole time, right? It collects and reads imagery to support mission planning. So that's definitely going to be a military job. So good job. Okay, crop scientist. What do we think a crop scientist is? Military, agriculture, or both? Oh, there's some whiteboards flipped. Okay. We're ready? I'm gonna flip it. Agriculture. Good job, guys. So crop scientists study plant health and yield using field and satellite data. So that's definitely solidly agriculture. Okay, a terrain analyst. That's the next one, a terrain analyst. What are we saying? I can't read your guys' whiteboards from here. What are we thinking?
Yell it out.
Yeah.
We have shy participants here. They're
Don't be
saying
shy.
both.
Okay.
Didn't he say both? No. Yeah. But we have someone else saying uh, military.
Okay. Okay. I'm gonna flip it. It is military. I can definitely see the argument for both, though, for sure. I think it just leans a little heavily into more like what the Army Corps of Engineers is. But I can definitely see how we would be both, because you definitely need to do terrain analysis and land resource management, right? So that one, I feel like I would give you a point either way. So the next one is going to be a remote sensing specialist. Okay, I see some whiteboards. Some more. All right, it's going to be both. So remote sensing specialists interpret data, satellite data specifically for crops or terrain, and that can fit into both categories. Did we all get that? Did we trick anybody? I'm going to say you all got it.
Untricked and
Good.
Libby.
Wonderful. Okay, the next one. We all should get this one. This is what I did. We've been talking about it. There's some whiteboards. I see them. All right, there's some more. Okay. Military. So if you got that, good job. It leads analysis on threats and operations from a variety of sources, including geospatial data, right? So next. Okay, what's a precision ag specialist? This should be another softball. It was on the chart in our previous slide.
What does AG stand for?
Agriculture. You got it. I see some whiteboards. All right, we're going to move it. Agriculture. It uses GPS and imagery to manage exact field conditions, right? So that lands heavily into agriculture. We don't really do a lot of that in the military. Okay, cartographer. Where does a cartographer land? What are we thinking? It's a map maker. What do they do? Some whiteboards. Oh, there's a bunch of whiteboards. Perfect. There's another one. All right, I'm gonna flip it if we're ready. It's both. So cartographers make maps used by both agriculturalists and military alike. So we have cartographers in the military, and you need cartographers for land management. Did anybody get that right? Did we get both? Yeah, sweet.
All Yep. Libby nailed it.
Perfect. Crushed it. Doing good. Okay, a land surveyor. And this is going to be our last one. For our game. Okay, I've got some whiteboards. We're just waiting on a couple more. Sweet. Just wait. There's another one. Okay. We ready? I'm gonna flip it. Oh, maybe I'm not gonna flip it. There we go. It's both. So it measures land boundaries for ranches, farms, or military bases, right? So military bases have to have land surveyors to help with where our training areas are, where our bases are, where we can fly, stuff like that. So we have applications for land surveyors for both agriculture and for military. Did we get that one? Kinda? Okay,
Libby
fair.
nailed it.
Oh, Libby's just doing so great today. Too bad they're shy.
It is too bad. Because they're whispering over here and like writing all the answers on their board, but they won't engage the screen for some reason.
That's okay. Okay, so moving on, you can put the whiteboards down. That was the last one for our game. I'm going to talk about some resources for students. So one thing that I find super interesting is the USDA Ag Lab. It's dedicated to students, educators, and parents interested in where food and science meet. So it's designed with STEM principles in mind, with a focus on sustainability. One of the parts of their website that I find super cool is that they have data maps on their website that can show you research projects that have been run through the USDA Ag Lab in your hometown. So you can find your hometown or your state, and you can go through the map and you can go look at all of these research projects that have a STEM base on talking about sustainability, animal health, plant health, insect health in that area. So it's a really cool little tool to use. They have project kits available for students. And so that's one that I found really interesting. I did include the link in the presentation, which I can share with you guys if any of you are interested in it. The next one is a little bit more about geospatial skills and geointelligence. So it's the USGIF K through 12 educational outreach program. So there's one that's K through 12, and then they have one that's K through 9 as well. So they have two different programs if you want to kind of bring it all together a little bit for the correct age group. But it talks about general awareness of GeoInt and how that integrates into everyday life, and then as well as career opportunities and field offers. But I think the best part about it is that it has a path to industry certification through their high school industry geospatial intelligence credentialing program. So for teachers who are interested in it, they can use that as a path to industry certification for their school. And it's pretty awesome. And then the next one is a little plug for the MSU Agricultural Education Program. We do teach state trailer demonstrations, which includes drones, CAD. We have a welding simulator. Dr. Wallach comes in and flies drones and stuff. He's like so excited about it. We do cartography, ArcGIS mapping. We have soil science as well, and then a ton of other things that we do. So Dr. Perry at MSU is the one who helps kind of manage Dr. Perry and Dr. Wallach where the teach trailer demonstrations go. But we've been this last year been branching out into schools around us, taking the teach trailer and doing demonstrations in ag programs. So if anybody is interested in having the teach trailer come, I think it's super awesome, and you should reach out to Dr. Perry. And then I wanted to kind of open it up to any questions that anybody might have for me about anything. Does anybody have any questions? Yeah, let's hear it. I don't, is that, I can't read the chat.
That's
Otherwise the whole
Hardin.
thing falls apart.
Yep,
Okay.
no worries. Go ahead, Hardin.
The coding.
How long were you in the military for?
I was in the military for 5 years. And then I went in as a like an E3, which is pretty low in the totem pole of ranks. And then I got out as a sergeant, which is an E5, which takes a lot of extra schooling to get, and you have to be picked by your boss in order to make that rank. So it's a pretty big deal, and it's pretty cool. And I did 2 years of language training. So I'm a Russian qualified linguist, and I can speak Russian.
Well, now you've got to give us a sentence in Russian.
Меня зовут Карина. Я курсантка в МСЮ. И я изучала агрикультуру.
I'm going to guess that was, my name is Karina. I'm a student at MSU. And the last one, I'm not sure, was it, I'm interested in agriculture? Okay, what was it?
I have read about agriculture.
Okay, cool. Okay, looks like we have a question from Bighorn County as well.
So our question is, how far can GIS take you in the military, maybe in terms of like job diversity or even rank?
Yeah, GIS and is in the GeoInt space can take you pretty far. It's a pretty small sector of the military, which means there's lots of room for growth. So over like intelligence analysts are pretty common. So there's not a lot of room for growth because there's a ton of us. And so if you go into GeoInt, you can promote really fast, which means you get paid more. And you get a lot more benefits as you move up the ranks. And there's always openings in the military in every branch. So if you didn't want to be in the Army and you wanted to be in the Air Force, which I would say GeoInt is even more prevalent in the Air Force. Obviously, this camp's hosted by the Air Force. There's so much opportunity for you. And then also, once you're done with your time in the military, if you don't want to make it a career, the doors that are open for you after the military with this skill set are incredible. The amount of people who would walk out of our office, get out of the military, and walk back in as a civilian, like in regular clothes, making 3 times the amount of money as us, doing the same job they were doing yesterday, is a lot. Like it has a lot of opportunity, and a lot of benefits too. I saw there was one in the chat, but I can't read it.
How do you use geospatial information systems in Russian? Or how do you say? Maybe that was it. Maybe it's supposed to be how do you say?
Yeah, how do you, yeah,
geospatial?
sorry, they wanted to know how you say it in Russian.
You're good. I don't know, but I can look it up and read it to you. Geospatial skills in Russian. Let's see. There's like a special, like Russia has their own version of Google. It's called Yandex. And it's their own Google translator, but it's in Russia for Russians. And so it's way better than using Google Translate. And I love Yandex. You say, I'll just open Yandex. Google Translate's not working.
Just need to hear different languages, you know.
Yeah. Yandex Translate is my favorite. I used to have the app, but I got rid of it because I don't really speak Russian that much anymore since I got out of the military. There's not really a need for it in Montana and Ag Ed. Geospatial. Oh gosh. It looks like this. It's a gazillion letters. I don't know if you can see that.
Yeah,
Geo.
I don't even know how to, I wouldn't know how to read it though.
Yeah, it is. So geospatial is geoprostveni. Geoprostveni. There we go. And then skills is Navki. Yeah, so geoprostveni Navki. That's insane. Yeah, that's
Sounds
probably why we didn't
beautiful.
learn that. I know people always
Yep.
say that Russian sounds scary, and I don't think that at all. I think that Russian is a beautiful language.
Yeah, that flowed. That sounded really nice. So
Mhm.
can I ask you a clarifying question? I think I heard you say that as a GI or geo intelligence person in the military, you could then separate from the military and come back and then work again for the military, making more
Yes.
money.
Yes, as a defense contractor. So, I had a chief who she separated from the military after 15 years. We were stationed in Hawaii. She got a job with a contracting company that worked in our office, because she's incredible. And she came back in on Monday as a civilian, and we had to go from calling her Chief Martinez to Mrs. Naomi. Like, it was crazy. But you in the private sector working in defense, you can make a lot of money. The military, you get paid what the military pays you. Um, which is great in its own way because they pay for housing, they pay for your meals. In Hawaii, you get a stipend because the cost of living is higher, but working in the defense industry is where all of the actual money is. And you've got the skills, you've got the background. As long as you've got 5 years of experience in the military, a contracting company will take you like that.
It's good information. Thank you.
Yeah, that's what my dad does. Actually, my dad and I both work in intelligence. He worked on the civilian side, and I worked in the military side. And he makes a lot more money than me.
What
Do you have
made
any
you go
other?
from military to agricultural education?
Yeah, like I said in the beginning, I grew up in a rural farming community, where we grew alfalfa and had sheep. So I was injured in the military, and so I was medically separated after 5 years because I'm 27 and I've had reconstructive hip surgery and a bunch of other things. And so when I was thinking about what I wanted to do when I got out, I needed a little brain break from doing Russian and Intel and things that are hard every day, like not just for me, but like for the nation. And so I wanted to go back to my roots in agriculture. And so I changed my major, from what I was before, which was psychology, pre-military, into agricultural education because with my new physical limitations and then also wanting to have like just some like ground time, like literally touching grass, um ag education was really a good fit for me. I love teaching. That's part of my favorite part about intelligence work is getting to brief really important people and getting to teach them all I know and being a subject matter expert in Russia. um I love that feeling and I love getting to share my knowledge. And so agriculture and education just seemed to be like the perfect fit for me. And when I was going through basic training and I totally thought I wasn't going to make it past the last like physical fitness test, I wrote a letter to my dad and was like, maybe I could be a teacher. Because I think I would be a really good one if I don't make it. And then I made it, so we were fine. But that's always been something that's been in the back of my head since then. Like in my hour of like I'm gonna fail. What can I do that I would be good at and love? Teaching is what came forward, and so I figured I shouldn't let that go either. So that's how I am where I am. Anybody else? I don't
Okay,
see
I think
any.
that might be all the
Yeah.
questions. Yeah, awesome. Thanks, Karina. Okay, we have one quick announcement from Dr. Lux, who's on the call, and then that'll be it for today. So thank you again, Karina, so much. That was really
Thank
fun.
you.
It was actually really interactive and engaging and fun to see
I hope
all
you
of you
guys learned
students making
something cool.
guesses.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks so much, Karina. That